Hello, um, welcome to day 8 of Bellshill Central Parish Church Advent Calendar. The Lord Himself will give you a sign. The Virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel. That's from Isaiah 7, verse 14. They will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us, from Matthew 1, verse 23. So, imagine for a moment you're at school. Your principal's called Mrs. Smith. One day, a visitor comes to your school and you point to Mrs. Smith in the playground and say, "That's Mrs. Smith." The visitor might wonder, what does Mrs. Smith do? Then you add, "She's our school principal." That title adds a whole lot more information. It says what Mrs. Smith does in the school. The baby Jesus was given the name Jesus, but the title Emmanuel adds a whole lot more information. The title describes what Jesus did in the world. He came to live as God among his people. In the Hebrew language, Emmanuel means God with us. Jesus, as Emmanuel, would deal with our sin, so God could live with us. And Jesus, as Emmanuel, would rise from the dead and give his Holy Spirit to everyone who trusts in him. When you have God's Holy Spirit living in you, you always have God with you. Jesus, who is Emmanuel, makes it possible. He gives his followers his Spirit. In fact, one of the great promises Jesus makes to his followers is found in the very last verse of Matthew's Gospel. "Surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." Matthew starts the story of Jesus by describing what he does. He is God with us. He ends his story of Jesus by telling us that Jesus, through his Spirit, continues being God with us, even though we can't see him. One day we will see Jesus and live with him forever. He is forever Emmanuel, God with us.